Okay, got a little bit of an interesting one here today. This was towed in from another shop, Chevrolet Cruze. The complaint is uh, it'll start and stall. Sometimes it'll run and then it'll stall when you put it in gear. The check engine light's on. The battery's going dead overnight. Uh, it's got a lot of codes in it when we check for codes, but we're just worried about the engine codes right now. Fuel pump enable, circuit low voltage, and fuel pump control module requested malfunction indicator light illumination. And so the man's already replaced, or the other shop I should say, already replaced the fuel pump, and that didn't solve it. He said he had another vehicle. It wasn't a Cruze, but another GM vehicle that he put the fuel pump control module, just plugged it in, and it didn't do any difference either. So since it's got these fuel pump control circuit problem, we pulled let me see where we are here. We pulled a wiring schematic of the engine performance and checked powers that are going to the fuel pump control module, which is located on the right rear trunk area, and we tested for battery ignition and ground, and we also checked the circuits between the fuel pump and the module. We load tested with a headlight bulb, and all the powers, battery ignition and grounds are good, and we found no wiring issues between the module and the fuel pump. So I didn't film it at the time, but we also put a fuel pressure gauge on it. It has a Schrader valve on the rail on the top of the engine, real easy to get to. And it was real interesting in that when you turn the key on with the engine off, we had between 60 and 70 psi of fuel pressure. But as soon as you cranked the engine, it immediately started falling. It would run until it got down to about 20 psi, and then it would just start loping and shuddering and eventually stall. And as soon as you turn the key back off after it stalled, it would immediately go up to 60 psi. And you could re-crank the engine and it would do it all over again. Sometimes it would fall within a second or two. If you try to put it in gear and move the car, it would lurch forward about 5 feet and stall. You put it in neutral, crank it again, and you could, move the car at 5 feet at a time if you're on level ground. And so it was really weird. So we're going to check the electrical system and see what's going on, and let's get to it. Okay, we took this PCM off and on connected to connectors, and I'm not sure if you can see this connector right here, this pin, the second one from the top here, the second one, this second row there, that second pin, it's way in there. Let's see if I can shine my light on there. You can see that second pin, it's like stuck only halfway up. And then if you look at this connector, where am I at here? See how the corrosion is right there? It's causing no communication to the, well, it's giving me a P069E, which is a low voltage for the fuel pump control circuit A. So now I gotta figure out if I can fix it or if I gotta replace this computer and this connector. So stay tuned for further updates. Alright, we got this engine computer out of this 2011 Cruze, and I have it hooked up to my multi-prog over here. I got the multi-prog software up, and just wanted to show I'm going to clone this this is the original module, and it is a E83 GM, and I wanted to show you a little better. If you can see this this pin over here, let me get these wires out of the way. You can see that pin right there is actually broken off. It's not even there. And then you can see these pins on the bottom. See all the corrosion around that one on the bottom right. See all the green there at the base, and then these like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, the pins are all white at the top. Let's see if I can focus that. And then up here you can see some corrosion on the pins. So it's definitely needing the ECM. We got our newer used ECM, new to us, and you can see there's no corrosion on these. These look good. So this module is located under the hood right next to the battery, and it's bolted to basically to the outside of the battery box. So I don't know if some battery acid got on there, or if some water got in there somehow. But anyhow, it's gonna hopefully you can see that. Let me turn that off. When you first hook up, it'll come up with whatever you were using last time you worked on it. But you just go up here to device, and you can click all, and I went down here to well, I'm on here on Chevrolet. If you click on Chevrolet, then the subfolder comes down to Cruze. I don't know if you can see that. And then you come over here to E83. So that's how we get to it. And just come over here. Where's my mouse? You just come over here, trying to watch through the camera and the monitor. Click OK, and then when you come over here to click on this tab here that says details, and wiring schematic will come up. This first one tells you which adapter to use, and it'll just show you which wires you're going to use. And then over here it'll tell you exactly, see, like right here, this pin here is a ground, and it'll tell you it's T1 and it's a ground. And so when you hook up over here, it's all color coded. It's a black wire, and it'll just say ground, I think, on it. Oops, I'm not on the right wire. Where's my black wire? Right here. And it'll just say, ground GND, I think. Yeah. And so, and all the rest of them, the two on this bottom over here, the two let me get my mouse right here. These first two pins are red. Then you have a green, a purple, and a blue. And over here they tell you exactly these two red are 12 volt, and it'll say DC power. And then there'll be a, what is that, a green, and it'll be labeled S4. And then the purple is labeled S14, and the blue is labeled S6. So they're all labeled exactly the way you want to, and you plug them in over here. And so then you just exit out of that screen, and then you'll come up here, and you'll notice on this one the only option you have, where's my mouse, the only option you have over here is internal flash. Sometimes it'll say internal flash, it'll say internal EEPROM, external EEPROM, but that's the only option you have on this particular module, so that's all you can do. So then you come over here and you hit connect, and you'll see over here, this on this top right, it just starts spinning, and down here it shows you what it's doing, and it'll beep when it's ready for the next thing. So it's sending its little program to boot up the PCM or the ECM, whatever, and communicate with it. So it's successfully connected, communicating, and now now you'll see that button over here that was spinning on the top right is gone. So now these options over here are not grayed out anymore, so you can go over here. So the next thing we're going to do is come over here and click on read, and so now it's going to send another little program to communicate with the processor in there, and it'll take a few minutes, and it'll come up and say reading. And this is the original computer that's out of the car, so we read that data and save it to our hard drive first, and then we'll unplug all this and hook up to the donor computer, the one we got used, and we'll do the same thing. We'll read and save that, and I'll save it as donor DNR just in case something goes wrong and the software in this original computer is corrupted or something. I can put the donor software back in. Some people just skip that step and they just write the original right into the donor module, but I like to read and save it, and that way I know it's reading it correctly and that there was no problems originally. And if I do have a problem, I can at least go back to where step one, and start all over. And so this will take a few minutes to read it. We're at 95%. Now that box has come back up here on the top right, and it's scrolling, and as soon as it beeps, we'll know that we are good to go. It says read data successfully, or read data read successfully, yeah. And it's still got a few things to do. Now it's populating. You see up here, where's my mouse? Up here, this data has come in, and it's populating this area. And if you scroll down here just a little bit, you'll see, where are we at? Right there, you'll see this 1GP1PC. That's the VIN number. It goes all the way over here to this 46, and you'll see that's 1G1PC, and it ends in 38046. And over here, this line is 38046. So from this 1G1, and I haven't scrolled down to see. A lot of times these modules have that VIN stored in several places. I've seen it up to 4 times in the same module. So if you go in there and edit and just want to change the VIN, say you didn't have the original module and you just read the data on the donor module, you could go in there and change that VIN to the VIN on your car, but you'd have to scroll down and make sure you get it in all the areas. Okay, so now that we've read this, I've already read it and saved it, but you'd go over here to save file, and then it'll come up and ask you, you can put it wherever you want. I've got a directory that's just labeled programming, and then under that, in the subdirectories, it's got the vehicle manufacturer like BMW, Toyota, Chevrolet, Ford, and I just save it under Chevrolet. and then you come over here and hit the disconnect, so it does its thing to stop the communication and disconnect from the from the module. So then we'll disconnect all this and we'll hook up to our donor module. Okay, so we've got it all written, and you'll see the write duration. This write operation duration was, what does it say? 8 minutes. Oh wow, I thought it was 1 minute and 49 seconds and 443 milliseconds. So it's written. So now what I always like to do is I'll come up here and read it. Just to verify that it has written the data on there correctly. We'll read it, and once it's done reading, we'll look and see if the VIN is the same, if it's that 38046. So it says reading data, and it reads it a lot faster than it writes it, so it'll be just a few more seconds. And then one thing I like about the multi-prog is once it loads that, where's my mouse? Once it loads that data, you can come up here to this here and hit compare, and then I can click that and it'll bring my files up, and I'll click on the original file and compare it to make sure it's the same as the file we originally got off the PCM. And if there's any difference, it'll show you what the differences are. So it's at 75%, so it's almost there. Let's see if it populates this. I think it's got to be upper 90s before it starts populating. There we go. It just read data successfully. So it is showing the 38046. We'll just, well, now it just populated, so that was the old data. So now let's come down here and see. But yeah, 1G, 1PC, and it ends in 38046. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to disconnect so I don't forget, and then I'm going to come over here and hit this compare. So it's going to compare, and we're going to see which one is that. That's the original. So I'm going to click on that and open. And it says 2 files being compared are the same. Okay, I've got the computer back in. I've actually got it running. I don't know if you can see that with the sun, but the car's running. No lights on, except the daytime running light and the seatbelt. So, got my scanner hooked up. We're going to check for codes. Just got back from road testing. I drove it about 20 miles. And there we got no codes. And the thing cranked right up without any issue. So I can't just go here and see what the VIN is. Hopefully you can see that. But it is the correct VIN. So there we go. Sun's shining on my screen. I can't see if I'm showing the correct picture or not. So that wraps this up. Nice, interesting case study on when the fuel pump module code set in a Chevy Cruze. I hope you enjoy these videos. Catch you on the next one. Okay, I wanted to do a quick video on how I pull these these pins out to fix the ones that were damaged and corroded. This is what the connector looks like. They cut them off pretty short, but still. The first thing you need to do is take this cover off here, and you just take a screwdriver and pry up on both sides here, and it actually goes out. And oh, actually you pry on this end, I'm sorry. You come in here and you pry up, and it comes this way up, and because there's a little tab right here that it slides in, so you got the length of that little tab. It's got to go this way, so you pry up and that way, and then this comes off, and you can see there's little tabs on 4 of them, one there, and one on each side, and then it also slides in right there. Those tabs slide into that little hole, and once you get that out, then right here where these holes are, let's see if I can see these holes, there's a plastic zip tie that goes around under this cover, but around here, and you just cut it right here, and that allows the wire to come up. And then there's a plastic retainer, and it just has a, let's see, it has a clip on each end. See that clip? There's one on each end, and there's actually a hole. If you can see that hole, that clip fits in. So you push the screwdriver in that hole and push up, and then you just work this up the wire, and then there's a rubber gasket that fits down inside there, and you work that gasket up, and that gives you access to the wires here. Then on this end, you take a screwdriver. I use a pocket screwdriver, and you pry up here on one corner and just work your way around, and this comes out, and there's tabs. I don't know if you can see them, but there's a tab on each end that holds that tight. And then once you get that off, there's little retainers right. Let's see if I can show it on camera here. There's a little retainer right there, and you just push up like this with this little tool, and as you push out with one hand, you pull the wire with the other hand, and this is what the thing looks like once you get it out. And so then what I did was, when I pulled the wire out, because I actually replaced 4 wires, the one had the broken pin stuck in it, I pulled the wire out, and then I took my replacement wire that I got out of this junkyard one of the same color. I just took it from the same pin location. Then I pushed the new wire in and locked it in, and then I took and pulled it through the plastic and the rubber gasket and the retainer, and then I pushed this wire up through, so it went like that, and I did it one at a time. And then once I got all 4 changed out, I had them hanging here like this. I worked the gasket all the way back down, then I worked this all the way back down, and put the, I just lost, then oops, man, so I just knocked my camera down. Well, I put this lock on first. After I got all 4 in and they were up through here like this, then I put this on, and this just snaps in place. Then I worked the gasket down, then I put this down and got it all back together, and then I cut my wires and soldered and heat shrunk them, then rewrapped it and put the zip tie back, and you put the part you cut off, you put right here, the connector end, and this is all straight. And then after you get that done, then this just snaps back in place. And so the only other thing is, when I cut my wires and reconnected, these are the wires that I changed. you can see I cut them at different lengths and staggered the joints so they're not all at the same spot. So when you retape the wiring harness